welcome to the special FIFA World Cup show on NewsX, brought to you by Dafanews. I'm Sunil Yashkalra, and today we are going to be discussing an absolute thriller of a World Cup that draws to an exciting close. Argentina last night became the first side to book their place in the biggest football game of the year. Yes, it's the final of the FIFA World Cup. Leo Messi, what a game he's been having. He's in his fifth goal at the World Cup, and you saw his performance was out of the world. And we also saw him overtake Gabriel Batistuta's Argentina's all-time leading goal scorer in the World Cup with 11 goals on the record 25th appearance, which sees him poised to break the record for the most appearance in the World Cup, however, it was 22-year-old Julian Alvarez who stole the headlines with his brace. Yes, at a top level, 21-year-old coming and scoring 2 goals in a semi-final is out of the world dream start, as well as the intelligent run into the box which led to the penalty, and that's what Messi converted with staggering conviction. Today, we are joined by two of the eminent guests. One, I could say, is a football tactician and the owner of FC Minerva, which is Ranjit Bajaj. And we have Picasso with the photo camera, Atul Kasbekar, who himself is a big fan. Today, let's talk to Atul first from a fan and get a fan's perspective. Atul, a couple of days ago, you went out for a dinner as an Arsenal fan and you met Robert Pierce and Gilberto Silva. As a fan, what was your first question to them?
Well, actually, I've been friends with Robert and Sol Campbell for quite a few years now. So, I mean, I meet them socially in London as well if I'm there. So they're friends more than anything. I was actually hosting that dinner, and Robert didn't tell me.
Who's their favorite team to make it to lift the trophy? I'm sure that discussion would have held.
Yeah. Well, earlier Robert and Saul, I'm not sure, but I think he was quite certain it was going to be Brazil. Brazil looked very, very good in the beginning. So Perez was sure about Brazil. I think Saul was saying either Brazil and France in that order. So,
what does your heart say as a fan, as a football fan? And you keep quite a tab on all the matches till wee hours in the morning.
Well, I'd like to think of myself as a true football enthusiast. I mean, I'm a fan of the game. I like to study the technical bits of it. I was a much better cricketer and basketballer personally. I play volleyball now, but I've enjoyed watching football at various levels. I've been a keen Arsenal supporter for more than 25 years, from days of Highbury to here. I, in fact, fly out to watch at least one game. Other than the pandemic years, I've seen at least one game, if not more, every season. My personal view, I mean, I think it's the great, Remember the Titans meets Hoosiers meets Rocky Balboa kind of story from Morocco, which nobody saw coming. They've only let in a self-goal so far, which I find absolutely astonishing. So heart wishes Morocco, would do something, because I think that would be a great fillip to, for football all over Africa, Asia, and so on. The underdog can start to believe. But the reality of it, I think, is that they've got way too many injuries. I think Roman Saiz is out. The other centre-back is also out.
Yes.
Not sure about Hakimi. I don't know if he was withdrawn out of because he felt something, or whether he was...
He's undergoing a therapy right now, and in fact, I think he's going to make it to the first cut. I mean, there is no way he's not going to play. But we'll shift our focus. We'll discuss in the second part. We'll talk about the Moroccan team, the Moroccan Tigers, the Atlas Tigers, as Peter Drury famously calls them. But we'll take a step back and just reflect on the Messi magical moment last night. Do you think he saved the best for last and what we saw yesterday? Atul?
First of all, I find this discussion of, Ronaldo versus Messi, which, I mean, you're not doing, to be fair, but, two brilliant players are playing in the same era. Let's just enjoy them both. Having said that, I think Messi has gone into another gear. It looks like he doesn't want to be the greatest ever footballer, never to win the World Cup. I was traumatic close to Sachin's retirement because he's a very close friend. I didn't want, Tendulkar to be the greatest ever cricketer, never to win the World Cup. So thank God we won it in, 13. So he's gone into another gear. And I think apart from the Julian Alvarez goals, one, of course, was 2 ricochets came back to him, and I think the penalty shouldn't have been given. because, to be fair, Livakovic stood his ground and he ran into him. But once it's given, it's almost brain dead that Messi is going to put that away. But that one single run to me was reminiscent of that famous Maradona run. He literally took off Jasko Guardiola, who really where's he at Leipzig, right? He's in one of the Red Bull teams, either Salzburg or Leipzig, and is one of the most sought after and highly rated young defenders in the world, in the same league as William Saliba of France and Arsenal. And he took him to school. It was ridiculous what he did. He just cut it back for Alvarez to tap it in. I think that was the defining moment. Just as the pass in the second game to, I think he made it to Acuna.
Yes.
Which, nobody saw that. Nobody in the world saw that except for, Messi. I think it's those little flashes of brilliance of teams that are actually very, very closely matched. And except for those 1-2 moments, that define it. I think the 3-0 scoreline is a bit unfair to Croatia. It was a better game than the scoreline suggests overall.
Well, we quite agree to your point. 3-0 scoreline is not what Croatia was in for last night or what they signed for. Let's take a step back and talk to Ranjit Bajaj. Ranjit, tactically, let's look at where did these guys play wrong. We're talking about, of course, Croatia at this point of time. Did they let Messi off the hook?
Thank you so much for having me, Yash, and it's a pleasure to be there at the same show as Atul. Really good fan of his work. In fact, now I even like him more because I'm a diehard Arsenal fan, and I'm just like him for the last 25 years since the days of Highbury. Been following these guys, but he's lucky that he's actually been friends with people like Sol. I totally agree with him when he says that everybody liked Brazil in the beginning because the into G of Brazil was more than even into the into G. That the into G's expected goals per match is the maximum was of Brazil if you look at till up to the quarterfinals. Now, see where I thought they got it tactically wrong. They, I think, did not give enough respect to Messi. See, you have to see it from what he has been able to do throughout this tournament till now and what kind of an effect he's had on the Argentina team. He has been the singular, either the scorer or the creator of the winning goals. What he did, like Atul was saying right now, how he took that centre back, who I regard as one of the who's had one of the best tournaments of the Croatian centre back, who's had one of the best tournaments of the World Cup. He took him to school. Absolutely. He just cut back and oh my God, what you saw when the commentator was saying flashes of old Messi. No, that is Messi. That is Messi for you. And when you say no World Cups and when this greatest player would never to win a World Cup, I think it's very, very unfair when you do that because football is a team game.
Absolutely.
Same with Sachin Paji. Cricket is a team game. So if your team doesn't do well, but you are doing exceptionally well, you shouldn't be the player being blamed out for that. But that's the way world is. And for GOATs, that means the greatest of all times, you've had Maradona, like you've had Perez, that box needs to be ticked.
Absolutely.
So what Messi has done, I can see it, he's actually taken it on himself. If you followed the Copa America, in the Copa America, the maximum number of goals which was scored by Argentina when they went on to win was by Messi. And I saw that entire Copa America, every single match, he was the difference in every match there. And by the way, I think, personally, the Copa America is tougher than the World Cup because every bloody team is almost just there. So I think they got it wrong. They did not take care of Messi because, yes, he's right. The penalty should never be given because what is the goalkeeper supposed to do? If somebody is running onto you, you're not supposed to get out of the way. He just stood his ground. So these kind of things, I think VAR should be brought in. Again, a question on the refereeing. Again, at a moment in the World Cup where it could have changed the match for Croatia because the first goal was not a penalty. Second was a run through. It was luck. So when you're 2-0 down, then match is almost over.
Well,
so when I think...
We're talking about, Ranjit, we're talking about Messi's numbers and the games. I think the numbers should come to an halt right now because he scored whatever goals that needs to be done. But last night, specifically, 85% of pass accuracy, 63 touches, 6 ground duels that he won, and 2 key passes that he had, and 2 big chances.
One more big stat
Assist.
You're missing out on. The biggest stat was he maximum number of interceptions or receptions between the defense and midfield line, the attacking and midfield line of the opposition. More than all the players of Croatia, more than all the players of Argentina, he was the guy getting between the two lines and receiving and then making the game for them. Not only that, then he's beaten Batistuta's record, which is a great record by Argentina to have the maximum number of goals. Then he's also equaled a lot of other Argentinian
Yes, absolutely.
records. He's also got now 5 goals equal to Kylian Mbappe. So imagine if today France beat them, and then you have Messi and Mbappe. And by the way, Kylian has already won a World Cup at the age of 19.
Absolutely.
And
we'll come to that. We'll come to that before we get into the Morocco game and the France duel. Let's look at give little respect to Luka Modric. And his games by number were phenomenal. He had 92 touches, 87% of the pass accuracy, 67% passes completed, 7 of the 8 ground duels won, and he seems to be getting younger. I want to ask Atul an important point. You've got players at 37, Ronaldo 35, Messi, Modric 37. I mean, is this a new template that these guys are writing in the World Cup stage? That age is definitely a number. Atul, your thought, because you've seen some of the best players way past their 35, 37, still belting out the youngsters out of the park. Your views, Atul? Atul Kazbekar, I want to ask you an important question about how age is just a number, considering Luka Modric did what he did last night, 92 touches, 87% of the pass accuracy. Do you think the template is now being written that you still have a sporting career beyond 37?
This is, I mean, apart from the obvious determination of players, I think, and a certain very rigid lifestyle, I think it's down to the huge advancements that are happening in sports science and sports recovery. In 2016, we were actually playing a pickup game at London Colney. Just mercifully, I was on Robert Perez's team. It was an indoor court, okay? So, and he was still nipping around and scoring. So I said, listen, do you think you'd be able to last in the modern game today? He said, okay, maybe about 35 minutes, maybe 1/2 maximum if I train hard. So he said, the biggest problem, as you get older is recovery.
Right.
So, for your muscle recovery to, and you're playing every 3 days pretty much. If you're playing like a bunch of tournaments, if it's not the, like let's say in England, which I'm more familiar with, if it's not the League Cup, then it's the FA Cup, or then if you're lucky enough to be in the Champions League or Europa League or whatever. So, so your body has to come back to peak physical condition in that much time. And I think the advancements in nutrition, in recovery, in all that have been massive. The only other great example of this that I remember is the ridiculous Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who played in the NBA for the Los Angeles Lakers till 41.
Absolutely.
And this is, we're talking in the late 80s and early 90s when his career got over. At 41, he was playing, with the likes of Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson and James Worthy, etc. So he attributed his longevity, by the way, to yoga, which nobody had heard of at that time.
Oh, brilliant.
But here, I think the players are very lucky to be at the time that they're at. It's only going to get bigger and faster and stronger, as we go along.
Which in a way is good for fans, considering that big legends get to elongate their careers. And one of them is Jimmy Anderson, who's still going strong at the age of 40 and
exactly.
Giving whatever.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.